Hey there YouTubers, another unboxing video. So this should be another motherboard. I think it's a GIGABYTE H310 S2P, something like that. It's different. Not one we've done on the channel yet. And as usual, you can expect on this channel we will check to see eventually if it works with the 9th gen. May even do a computer build video with it, but at least you'll probably see a video where I try it with either i3-9100, i3-9100F, or i5-9400F, or the i5-9600K. So we'll pick one of those, and most likely this will ship with a really old BIOS, something that's at least a year old. And this should give you some comfort that if you were to buy it, that you will end up with a BIOS that's installed that will allow you to actually boot up your computer with the BIOS that's installed. So hopefully that made sense, folks. Let me get this out. So this was a new open box, supposedly. And sometimes I always wonder about these when I buy them, but it's definitely cheaper than buying it new. This was another one. I think I got this for $40, so and you see there, they bought it new for $59.99, so I say $20. But before we open it up, let's take a look at the outside. So yeah, H310M S2P, and just says supports Intel Core on the outside. They might not even know about 9th gen at that point when they made this. So this one actually looks a little older. This might have a really old BIOS on it. So supports 8th gen, CPU socket LGA 1151, chipset H310. So there's going to be one PCI Express 3.0 by 16. Display interfaces HDMI, DVI dual, and D-sub. Looks like there's two slots for DDR4 RAM, and the other expansion slots are PCI Express 2.0 by 1 plus 2 PCI. So we'll look at that in a bit. 4 SATA 3s, 1 M2. I'm glad to see, speaking of M2, a lot of the new motherboards are actually shipping with 2-3 slots, which is really nice, especially for those of us that keep buying these smaller SSDs, and eventually we're going to buy the big ones, and then we'll want to do something with the smaller ones. But and audio 8-channel HD, and this is a micro ATX form factor. So usually, you know, we'll probably put this in a mini tower, maybe a mid tower, but not this one. I would think we'll probably stick with the mini tower. So Smart Fan 5. So it looks like there might be 4 temperature sensors, 2 places for fans, and let's get into it. Alright, so unboxed. Alright, so this does look new. We've got SATA cables have not been touched, and these are actual GIGABYTE ones, so I will get to this in a moment. There's our motherboard. Let's see what's on the bottom here. Multilingual installation guide. So, you guys watch the channel, you know I'm not a big fan of GIGABYTE's instructions. I like their motherboards, but I prefer MSI's instructions. And the heat shield, which has not been opened. So all good signs that this actually is a new motherboard. And the got a CD or DVD there. Here is our layout of our motherboard. So we'll keep that to the side in case yours truly forgets what he's looking at. Alright, so let's get this open. And still has the tape sealed on it, and it wasn't re-taped, so I think I got a huge deal here, folks. You know this channel, I'm always out for deals, so we definitely like our bargains. Okay. So I want to point out a few things about this in case you're thinking of designing a computer with it. So first thing, make sure your power supply has either, well, two 4-pin CPU connectors, alright, for power. If you get one, you're going to have to get another power supply. So there are some companies out there, Apevia, which we have 3 of their power supplies. They have not, I don't understand how they can create a 500 watt power supply and not provide you with 2 of those on half of their power supplies. So they may give you one 4-pin, and then they'll give you a 6 or 8-pin for your GPU. And it's like, I don't know, just doesn't make a lot of sense the way they do things. But all right, so that's one thing to watch out for. RAM wise, obviously you need at least a 4 gig stick to get this going. Here's your 24-pin connector. That's going to come from the power supply. So make sure your power supply has 24 pins. Here's where your CPU fan connects in, and you definitely need a CPU fan. Otherwise, you won't boot up. Here's your SATAs. So only 4 of those, which compared to a ATX board, that's a little on the low side. This should be the USB 3.0 header here. That as long as your case has 3.0 USBs on it, you will connect there. If it doesn't, you won't need that. Okay. So definitely, in my opinion, make sure you have USB 3.0s on the front of your case. Alright, so here's where our graphics card would install if we so choose to. I'm not sure with this build we will, but we'll find out. Down here you've got your audio. Okay, so when you're building, make sure that you line up, here's a missing pin here. The connector that goes there will have a filled in slot or whatever, and make sure you line it up there. And my eyesight's a little bad here. But yeah, other than that, one of these should be your other USB there. And now these are your front panels, so let me get out some light. I'm not sure this is working so great. Alright folks, so you can see in here, hopefully, you've got, this is where your power LEDs go, your HDD, your reset switch, all those that come off of your case. Okay, so you will definitely plug in. There'll be 3 sets of a dual pin and 2 single pins we'll plug in there. And this happens to be one of my least favorite things to do. GIGABYTE actually labels their motherboards. They don't do a good job putting them in instructions. Once you install this, it's really hard to see unless you have a magnifying glass or reading glasses. So keep that in mind. Now your Cmos battery. In case you do something really wrong in your BIOS, this is the spot where you will go to, you'll remove your battery, and it will allow you to reset the BIOS. If you happen to install a BIOS that somehow screws up your computer, that's probably not going to help you out. Okay, keep that in mind. Alright, so in case we didn't see it too well because it was dark, PCI 3.0, and here's your additional PCIs. This is your M2 slot, and know that when you come in, you'll come in about 30 to 45 degrees, and then put that down. And there is a screw there, which is nice to know. Okay, so that's about all that we need to talk about, except for there's one system fan, and I think it said there were 2 system fans, so it's always fun finding the second one. It's not that guy. So CPU system. Oops, I keep bashing this thing. I don't see the second one, folks. You know, usually I'll find it later. I'll be like, oh, it was right there the whole time, right there. So here's your USB 2.0s. All right, I never use that. I'm starting to think there might only be one CPU fan header. Huh. Alright, so let's look at the side, and then I'll do a flyover. Alright, so we have that's our line. The blue is the line in, rear, speaker out, and then your green is your line out, front speaker out. Pink is the microphone. Here's where you're going to plug your Ethernet in. This, oh, by the way, this does not have Wi-Fi built into it, just so you know. USB 2.0, 2.0, 3.0, 3.0, and or USB 3.1, excuse me, HDMI, okay, and then one of these old, I think this is the D-sub, looks like VGA, DVI dual, and then old PS2 mouse keyboard type deal, and some more USB 2.0s. So there you have it. Now we're going to do a little flyover, and some of you guys can get a real good look at it. And that about wraps it up. I hope you got something out of this. Thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe.